Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR. We are here tonight for tonight's social race here as we take in Console Tier 1 from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, otherwise known as the Autodromo de Interlagos. My name is James Head. I'm delighted to be taking you through the stream, as always, now on this Friday night, filling in for Gareth and Jota, who are sadly not available. Joining me in the comment box, luckily we've got a stream this week, and tonight it is Mr. Joseph, as always. Joseph, how you doing?
Yeah, really good. Thank you, James. Good evening, everybody. Apologies that you can't see me, but I'm here in spirit on the screen. It's great to be back, and hopefully, for everybody's sake, a smoother running tonight. Just a few issues last time. That's nothing to worry about. All fixed and ready to go here in Brazil.
All fixed indeed, and yeah, it was an out-of-date Elgato capture, which unfortunately was the downfall of Monday's stream, which I didn't know about until I checked for updates after the stream had finished. But there we are. We are going to get into qualifying straight away. The drivers are just joining into the lobby there. So let's have a look then at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. 4.3 kilometres in length, 2.6 mile, 15 turns. Waiting our drivers out on track with two DRS zones, one down the start, finish straight in towards the ZRS at turns 1 and 2, and then one down the Retro Posta in towards the Cida del Lago at turn number 4 as well. And Joseph, coming into tonight, Brazil, normally a track that we feature here quite often in WOR as towards the end of the season, being a season finale, chosen as a social race tonight. More so for the PS guys, because PSGL is obviously running on Monday night around here for PSF1, which gives these guys a very good impetus, I think, to see how the land lies going into that season in particular, and also for Console Tier 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned its usual slot as a season finale, WOR Season 15. It will be a season finale. October the 20th is when we will be here for the main event and possibly a championship decider here. And of course, yes, PSGL drivers will be wanting to get out there, test themselves, get some practice in, a brilliant opportunity to do so. We're running full qualifying this evening, mainly as a test for the upcoming WOR Legacy Division and see how that copes with crossplay. We also anticipate that this will be the penultimate social race test, if you like. I think we're looking to do a sprint race next week. The track will, of course, be revealed in due course. But as far as we're aware, everything is heading back in the right direction. Equal tyres, crossplay was absolutely fine in Austria, and now we get to test full qualifying and see how the drivers go around Brazil.
Yeah, we do indeed. And the first one that is about to start up on a lap, albeit on a set of intermediate compounded tyres, which the majority of drivers are on at the minute. It is OP Mubarak, the pad goat, on the run down into the left-hander of turn number 1, through the right-hander of the Senres at turn number 2, and then through in towards turn number 3 at Curva del Sol. On the run down the Retro Posta now, of course, famously where Vettel and Leclerc made contact in 2019. God forbid if you're a Ferrari fan, I'm bringing that up right now, but a 17.4 in the first sector is very good indeed from Mubarak. Of course, he's on that set of intermediate compounded tyres, coming through now the left-hander turn number 5, out of the Cida del Lago, and now running up the hill in towards turn number 6 at Ferradura, which, coming through now turn 7 and 8, which this corner, Laranha, translates to the orange curve in English, which I only found out about 6 hours ago. But we now come through out of Laranha in towards the right-hander of turn number 10, pretty much a big good battle trying to get the car rotated in. Of course, on the soft compound tyre would be so much easier. Otherwise, Mubarak is going to lose it. It's quite squirrely coming out of turn number 11. Now through John Sow at turn number 12, the final technical corner on the track. Running up the hill in towards Vida dos Boxers at turn 14, and then through the left-hander at turn number 15 at Arquipancadas. And this is pretty much the lap over and done with at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. And Mubarak now on the run toward the line with a 1:12 to start off the night. Not bad lap, but certainly going to be improving towards the end of the session with drivers beginning to get onto a set of softs, including Sav, who's currently out there. In fact, not on a set of softs, he's on a set of inters, as is everyone else.
Yeah, indeed. And, well, these intermediates obviously used to just test equipment, just get a feel for the circuit, and, of course, all for a little bit of fun as well. No harm done with what the drivers are doing at the moment, though. Saying that, we are running dynamic weather tonight. Often we've reverted to clear, so there is the possibility of some rain. I'm sure the drivers would avoid the intermediate tyres if there was any, just to maybe reserve a set if they do need them, of course, but it doesn't look like any rain is on the way tonight. And, of course, the intermediate laps still flying in.
Yeah, intermediate laps definitely flying in indeed. Clacky, of course, familiar face to us, of course, in Console Tier 1, was part of the Red Bull team last season in Console Tier 1, doing a good job there in 5th in the McLaren on a 112 flat. Of course, these are cars that are probably not going to be represented by the Console Tier 1 drivers here this year, this season, I should say, in WR, because obviously they haven't selected them yet. Luca Kart apparently is purple in the middle sector, the OP man coming up the hill in toward the left-hander of Sabina Dos Boxes at turn 14. It's looking pretty good, I've got to say, from his perspective at this current stage, as we now come through down the hill in towards 10:15 at Arquibancadas, and Luca Kart should go to the top step of the podium, but he goes second, just in behind Axe, which is not a bad lap there at all. Axe, of course, formerly, I believe, of VSR. I'm not sure if he's still within the VSR team. Certainly VSR closing down their side in recent weeks, and of course they're going to be a huge miss, I've got to say, in the console Tier 1 divisions, and indeed on console full stop. Axe out on top, though. Luca Kart in second, Nick there in third. The early lap times are in. Haven't seen, though, lap times yet from Lucas, Lars, Enzo, Fezzo, I can't even read, Bradders, Asacom, and Jerry Van Bussel are the 6 that haven't set laps, along with Benzer, who's also out there now on a set of inters. As Schumacher now goes quickest. The once thought about, touted as potentially the F1 Esports challengers, now out on top with a 10th of a second ahead of Axe.
Yeah, indeed. Those still in the pit lane have selected a set of soft tyres, so might come in, come out, I should say, in a few minutes' time. Of course, Brazil, a short circuit in terms of lap time. Of course, just over 70 seconds at the moment, but we should be seeing lap times down into the 1-minute 7s by the time we get to Q3. So you really don't need to rush at all. And if you're on the softer setting, you'll have 5 sets of softs for the entire 3 sessions. If you're on the balanced, you'll have 4. And if you're on the harder, I think you'll have 3. So again, it's just about biding your time, not rushing and wasting sets of soft tyres too quickly. So there'll be absolutely no panic for any of these drivers at the moment. Mubarak's actually come out on another set of inters. It's not too often that you see that. So yeah, all indications that it is going to be a completely dry race, and hopefully a competitive qualifying first up then.
Yeah, definitely so. Danny there in the chat reiterating his question twice. He is very persistent, I've got to say, there in the chat by asking, when does esports start? I'm not sure in general terms when esports start. It's somewhere normally around October, November if you're talking about F1 Esports Challengers, or F1 Esports Series, I should say, the actual series. Pro Exhibition comes before that as well. We've got a couple, actually, of Pro Exhibition drivers in tonight as well, including Bradders, who's going to be a very, very familiar face to you and me on the PS side, if you are a PS viewer, of course. But we'll watch on board with the pad goat of Mubarak coming out through the left-hander once again at turn number 15. He's using up another set of this intermediate compound tyres, which suggests to me they're keeping the tyres dry towards the end of Q2 and Q3, which means we could see a little bit of interchangeable weather between now and then towards the end of Q1, perhaps. Brazil, normally a monsoon country, normally brings monsoon to this track, but hopefully we don't see any of that tonight, even though it is very much heavy raining right now here in the north of England. There's Mubarak, 17.6 in the first sector, clearly on a set of used compounder tyres as opposed to a full set of intermediates, a fresh set of the inters. And Liam there saying in the chat, the mobile master plan could be in full action, and I totally agree with that comment as the Swissman now comes at the top of the hill, the highest point on the track through turn 8.
Yeah, you mentioned it, heavy rain outside. It is miserable here too, very wet. And windy in the Midlands. It's freezing to say it is mid-July, but the sun's shining here in Sao Paulo, and it's looking like a very nice part of the world to be in. I'd love to be out here right now, but obviously not that easy, is it? Mubarak, purple in the middle sector there, not a set of intermediate tyres, the only man out on track. At the moment, you can imagine a lot of the drivers sitting on TikTok at the moment in the garages. Mubarak crosses the line, has gone quickest, improving by about 3/4 of a second. A good effort to say it's an intermediate lap. Doesn't mean much. He can still very much get eliminated from the session in that position. He's got to make it count, though, when we get to the softs.
Yeah, and what he hasn't realised, and what I think Evan there in the chat is actually picking up on, he's actually out of sync compared to everyone else now. Everyone's going to be coming out on their sort of soft compounder tyres. Running higher fuel loads, it looks like, as well. Talent Factory Lars is the first man out on track as well. PSGL F5 champion back in the day of Lars. He's looking to try and bring that sort of big step that he's had, I think, from the PS side. Certainly here to console tier 1. Wiener there saying in the chat, looking forward to commentating on him on Monday as well. He is going for the Inters Championship, and I totally agree he is on that set of Inters. Everyone else now on the set of soft, they're now transitioning out for their first dry runs. There's now we come on board with Talent Factory Lars up the hill through Speedo Dust boxes at turn 14. Of course, famously where Alonso crashed in 2003 in the wet conditions around here. 3 years after the track actually changed a bit of profile in terms of that corner as well through turn 14. As Lars now comes through the left hand of turn number 1, through the centre rest at turn number 2, then through Cover del Sol at turn number 3. We'll see what the Talent Factory man is going to do in terms of this lap. Timing tower off on the left hand side just to bring about this lap from Lars. In the first sector, 16.9, already 5 tenths per second up at least on Mubarak, and he is going to go purple as long as he stays within the white still.
Absolutely, up the hill then, and up to turn 6, Ferradura, and it's going to be flat after the initial section. Almost a bit of a twitch, taking him out wide. Very easy to invalidate and cut the inside of turn 8. Now through turn 9 as well, and another tricky uphill traction zone. Snatch of the front right lockup going into turn 10, and now down through 11. Really used the inside curb to rotate the front end, and now through Junsao as well. Could have maybe attacked the curb a little bit more on the inside, but it's quite a tentative banker for Lars Kramer, who sets his sights on the timing line. DRS wide open, then running right down in terms of ERS deployment, down to 11% as he crosses the line, and obviously goes quickest. It's a 108.182.
He does indeed. Kai as well is coming through the final couple of corners. 51-1 in the middle sector, back 3 tenths down, I think, on Lars through the middle sector, but we'll see what the PSL man can do. Of course, really burst onto the scene last season in the Legacy Division, looking to try and claim top spot, and he does. Actually 3 tenths quicker than Lars in the middle sector, I should have said, but a 107.8, he does go quickest ahead of everyone. Levi there in second for the MNX team, and now Sav going quickest as well in the Aston Martin. So good lapping from him, a 107.839. Now bettered by Fezzo, who goes quickest, but a 107.7. I wonder how many lap times we're going to see improvements. Certainly not going to see an improvement from Masacum, who's invalid through the first sector. Brad is now on the run to the line, goes 4th. The only man actually in the field that has qualified for Pro Exhibition. Finished 6th, of course, on the PS side in Challenger Series. Certainly from the PlayStation side. Didn't look up what the Xbox side were doing from Pro Exhibition. But Fezzo out on top, Sav there in second, Kai there in third, and Evan there saying in the chat, apparently Lucas crashed into the pit lane, which might have been a little bit unfortunate from his perspective, but Lucas there crashing into the pit lane. So unfortunate as Jerry Van Bussel now comes down the hill through turn number 11 at Magudio, turn number 12 now at Jun South, 51 flat in the middle sector, looking very competitive. The PSGL F2 Championship winner as Benza now goes quickest by 6,000ths of a second ahead of Fezzo. Asacum also qualified. I knew there was another one. I didn't really want to say it on stream. Asacum, though, is the other one in Pro Exhibition. As Jerry Van Bussel there goes 6th position behind Bradders. Not bad qualifying so far, and this is only Q1.
Yeah, of course, plenty of sympathy for the Pro Exhibition drivers at the moment who have heard nothing about their top 6 qualification. So let's hope that is resolved in the near future as well, because I'm sure most of them expected to be at Silverstone last week for the British Grand Prix, but that has not happened. Might be later in the year. It might now be a remote thing with the times that we still live in at the moment, but yeah, like I say, hopefully that is resolved and these guys get the opportunity they do deserve. Asakame, I think, is still pushing at the moment, though the red fuel light is flashing. He might also come into the pits as well, just to get himself a fresh set of soft tyres and make sure he is out there for the dying moments of Q1. He's going to pull into the pit lane. No, he's going to go for a second lap here, crossing the line over Yasikome, and he's gone quickest.
I didn't want to interrupt on that, but I was watching that lap with absolute content, and honestly, that was such a good lap for Masacum. Out on top, that's why he qualified second in Pro Exhibition. Thank you, Mr. Wiener and Outplayed Racing there in the chat for confirming that, and I'm going to add that to my notes ready for Monday as well. Evan there saying in the chat as well, yeah, I thought the top 6 were through. Brad has finished in 6th position. That's why I said he qualified into Pro Exhibition as well. Be very interesting actually to see if anybody is watching from the Pro Exhibition Series tonight, if they are watching in the background, they'll be getting a real good insight, I've got to say, in terms of the drivers, in terms of how they're qualifying from an Xbox and a PS side as well. And we get the privilege, of course, to commentate on this social race as well. But with 4 minutes to go, has to come out on top. Actually, pulls off track on the right-hand side, nearly getting lost like Kimi Räikkönen did in 2012 out of Junsao, famously back then. But has to come out on top. Benzo there in second, Fezzle there in third. And already, Joseph, retirement in the pit lane. Benzo, Fezzer and Sav clearly doing enough there, second, third and fifth. Clearly think they've done enough, which I think they have.
Yeah, absolutely, and they'll retire and just see out the remainder of the session. Under pressure at the moment, PSR Nick, he's down the inside at turn 10 of an Alpine there. I believe it was of Schumacher, but he's cleared him in a rear lock-up going into Junsao, and he's had to correct the car twice. PSR Nick on tenter hooks in the final sector. You might have bought this lap, but I'm not surprised because I don't think that would have seen him through. He sped into the pit lane as well because he can't waste any time at all getting out there on track. I'm not quite sure how long he's got left. Just under
3 minutes.
3 minutes. It's going to be a quick turnaround from the Mercedes crew.
Yeah, 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes as you mentioned, and Nick has got plenty of time. I think he's only going to get one run though. That's going to be the big thing. Luca Cart's out there on the track at the minute, and he's just starting his lap on the run down towards turn 1. So if he invalidates on this run, at least he's got enough fuel load potentially to go for another lap. And that's why I think Nick may have missed the trick there. The PSL man, Crispy not in the chat so far, not going to be telling the guys in terms of the strategies what to do certainly tonight, but we'll see if he is going to feature as Luca Card is through the first sector. 16.9 is up there in terms of the fastest first sectors. Out of the seat of the Largo at turns 4 and 5. Now up the hill in towards Ferradura at turn number 6. Another fact for you. 2009, Alonso, Glock, Piquet famously making contact up the hill through 2009, and the problems getting featured there as well from Jonathan Lagarde on BBC F1 commentary back in the days. Luca Cart now comes through the right-hander of turn at number 10 at Bico de Pato, then through inside Magulio, which is the next corner up at turn at number 11, and this is looking pretty good, I've got to say, from Luca Cart's middle sector. His middle sector, 51-1, dead up there with what Mubarak was setting, with what Sav was setting, so he should go around 4th or 5th, you would imagine, with this lap. The sun belting down there on the Williams, and now comes through the final corner. Of course, the Williams 800th Grand Prix livery added to my team, and indeed in terms of the F1 World Car, Luca Cart now goes to the line. In the end, bigged them up so much he actually doesn't deliver and goes 10th.
Yeah, Luca Cart still risk of elimination in Q1. Placky starting his final flying lap now of the session. Lars Kramer 5,000 down in the first sector as he looks to get out of Q1 and get into Q2. PSR Nick now back out on track and will have just enough time to get a final flying lap in now. Who's going to be first up then?
Kimber.
I think it's an Aston Martin or PSR Kimber. He's gone 4th. That should see him through into Q2. Choco will be next to cross the line, but he is on an outlap. NRX Rusty also taking to the first corner on his first day as a Parnell Racing driver. Yeah,
Parnell Racing indeed. That's the game tag that is in the chat there and in the view of you guys as the viewers. Definitely not to believe. The NOX man there, formerly NOX, now of course part of Parnell Racing, which is fantastic. And he invalidates, so he might be actually out of Q1 here. He invalidates coming out of the seat of the logo at turn number 4. Lars, I believe, has just came off a lap, a 108 flat, so he's actually got a little bit of breathing room between himself and Levi. Levi has just started on a run right now at this stage. George Morgan, by the way, is in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in, George. Hope you are doing very well indeed on this fine, very miserable, I've got to say, Friday night here in the UK, as Levi, I think, has backed off coming out of the first sector. He clearly thinks he hasn't done enough, but the big news is the now Parnell Racing man of Rusty is now in 16th position. That means he's out of Q1.
F1 so close in the mid-pack. Jack L, Jerry Van Bussel and Axe F1, 3 positions separated by 3 1,000ths of a second. Incredible fight there in the mid-pack. Of course, you'd expect it on such a short circuit. Rusty, confirmation that he is out of qualifying. Nick flying up to the line. Is he through? Yes, he is in P2, 4,000ths off the pace set by Opiasi Kome. That might be the final run. Levi's down on his time. He's coming into the pit lane as well. Another big elimination from Q1. They're saying that Levi often doesn't get a lot of time to practice. Schumacher coming in clutch at the end as well to secure P3, and that should finally be that for Q1. Lars Kramer coming into the pits as well.
Yeah, disappointing from Lars. I expected a little bit more of him. He does like Brazil. He has said to me in the past he likes Brazil as well. And Lars out of the session, along with, as you mentioned there, from 20th up to 16th. Lucas in 20th, Levi in 19th, Lars in 18th, Rusty there in 17th, and Choco there in 16th position. All out of Q1, and the fine margins, quite literally, in terms of Q1. If Choco had set a quicker lap time, it could have only been getting delivered by 1,000th of a second, potentially. Luca Kart and Placky, 14th and 15th, only separated by 1,000th of a second. And that is how close we really do speak about the margins here. Not only in sim racing, not only here in console tier 1 tonight, but certainly in league racing as an absolute entirety. But Asa come out on top from Nick there in second, Schumacher there in third, brings the end to Q1. It is full qualifying, as Memento asked there in the chat as well. Really hope you guys are doing well. 53 of you are still bearing with us. We've got no issues tonight in terms of the stream, which we're delighted to say. You are getting the full breadth of myself and Joseph there in the comment box. Myself, James Head, and of course Mr. Joseph F1 there in not only the comment section, but also in the comment box alongside you guys as well. But Atasa come out on top. 4,000 of a second clear from Nick there in second, Schumacher there in third, Bender in fourth, and look at the close margin these guys have really got. Fezzle, 5,000 of a second off there in fifth, Kimber in sixth, Mubarak the Pad Gold there in seventh, with Sav there in eighth, Kai there in ninth, and Bradders rounding off the top 10, and only 2/10 of a second covering the top 10 as well. Adding to that, Jack, Jerry Van Bus and Max all separated by 1,000th of a second, which is what you mentioned earlier on. They're set 11th, 12th, and 13th, Luca got 14th, Placky 15th, getting through by 2,500ths of a second, 2,400ths of a second actually. Choco, Rusty, Lars, Kramer, Levi, and Lucas all out of the session. Unfortunately for them, they're not going to be taking any further part in Q2 and Q3 as we move forward. We will get straight into Q2. There's no intermission screen, so you are going to see the full breadth of the capture card in full action here tonight. And Joseph, at the end of Q1, the big shock arguably there, Rusty out of Q1, his first day in the job as Parnell Racing, not going according to plan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he did have a slower start on the game in comparison to some drivers, just didn't pick it up, hasn't done as many races as well. So, you know, it might well be his first full qualifying session, and he's just been caught out by it, but it's very close. It's nothing to be too concerned about from his point of view. But out we go again, I assume, for some used tyre runs at the start of Q2, just to keep the momentum building for those all-important final laps.
Yeah, definitely so. I believe Mubarak's one of the first to come out of the pit lane. In fact, it's his teammate Kai, who was the first man out on track coming into Q2. And of course, it is whistling down in terms of the length that these drivers have got, of course, in full qualifying. If you are brand new and you're a virgin to WOR and you don't know anything about this Formula 1, then you are tuning in pretty much at the right time, because I'm going to explain about Q1, Q2 and Q3. Q1, 18 minutes, and then the normal traditional short qualifying session that we see in league racing. Q2, and that of course Q1 knocks out the bottom 5 drivers from 16th to 20th. We again go knocking out the bottom 5 drivers from this session, so 11th down to 15th get knocked out at the end of Q2, and then we go into Q3, which is basically a 12-minute shootout to see who is going to be setting the fastest lap and who is going to be on pole position for the race. And it is going to be very interesting. It is pretty much wide open in terms of the field. We should be getting towards the 106s as well, as we saw at the end there of Q number 1. But Kai is on the run towards the left-hander of turn number 1. And Joseph, I'm not putting you under pressure. Can you commentate through this lap?
Of course. Down in towards the first corner then with PSR Sav. And of course Kai, who is in front of her now. Down the Retro-Aposta he goes and will take off on turn 4 now, and well, nice attack of the Apex, runs out wide, not too wide though, the white line, the definitive limit, 4 track limits. You might well see drivers being forced off there, taking warnings and maybe complaining that they felt it was unfair. Now again, small lock of the rears going into turn 8, and now down through the left of 9 as well, just hugging that inside Apex. Good traction, again, down in towards turn 10, a small lock up for the Haas, twitch on the exit as well, down through turn 11, use the curb on the outside, don't want to touching the grass on F1 23, you will lose traction, you will lose control, and you might well face a spin. One final straight comes up very quickly indeed, hugs the inside line to reduce the distance up to the line. Goes PSR Kai, and he goes obviously quickest with a 107.961.
Yeah, very good lap time, I've got to say, from Kai. Axe there going now quickest, 107.933. Mubarak there going third. Placky now going second. We're going to see so many improvements in terms of the lap time. Jerry Van Bussel apparently is purple in the middle sector. I know for a fine fact that is wrong, because actually Kai was purple in the middle sector. Jerry Van Bussel, though, coming through. Archibald Carlos now at turn 15. The Ferrari man on the run toward the line. The Talent Factory man actually goes quickest. So what am I on about? A 107.900, dead on in terms of a 107.9. So very good lap there from Jerry Van Bussel. He's out on top. Axe there in second, but Benzer once again coming in there. Very good showing in Q1. Once again in Q2 coming alive, and he goes, what, 400, well, 600 clear nearly of Jerry Van Bussel there in second. Axe there in third. Very good lap time being set, as Luca Card, I believe, is the next one to come across the line as well in the Williams, and he's a 50.9 in the middle sector, so he's actually up on what Jerry Van Bussel was setting. Now up the hill through John Sau, coming in towards the left-hander of 14, and then through the left-hander of turn number 15 at Archibald Carlos, and now on the run toward the line with 11 minutes to go in the session. Benzer, Jerry Van Bussel and Axe, but Luca Card should need to blow them out of the water. He does, 107.721. Very good lap from him. Benzer there in second, Jerry Van Bussel in third, and Evans' comment there in the championship saying Benzer is winning the WR championship. Well, we've got another man out of OP on top.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out anybody, to be honest, in this championship. Sav slotting in between the two outplayed racing drivers up into P2. 107.8 is his lap time. Schumacher has just crossed the line as well to go up in fourth. Obviously, we've seen a lot of movement already. Some of the quickest drivers on Xbox since departed, such as Skidder, Smokey, Otis, Wilson, all of those household names across the past 12 months or so. Now on PC, they are doing their thing, and that the crossplay Tier 1 drivers will be hoping that their name is put onto the WOR Hall of Fame. Luca Cut, quickest so far in Q2. Fezzo and Nick. Well, Nick certainly leaving it late once again.
Yeah, definitely so. And Nick on down in 15th position at the minute. The PSR man needs to show, I think, some resemblance of his form. He's another one, I think, that has caught up with the game and got the game potentially a little bit late, and he's just catching up to, as per Rusty was doing, of course, in Q1. But Nick there in 15th, I'm a little bit shocked, actually. He's that far down. Hasn't had lap time on the board so far. I mean, we've got 9.5 minutes to go on the session, so I'm complaining at pretty much nothing, because he is going to get a lap time on the board. But he is one of the assurances, you could say, potentially to make the top 10 on the last game. On the this game, he just seems to be struggling maybe to pick it up, and it might be the same to be said for some PSR guys, because Sav there in second has really picked up on the game very well. But we saw with Rusty out of the session, obviously with Smokey as well moving to PC, there is that championship to claim. So that brings about the real change. And Nick, you could argue, from Console Tier 1 last season, and is showing in Legacy Division as well, he was one to watch out for, but he's there in 15th position, and at the minute, he'll be out of Q2.
Yeah, he could. It all leaves the final lap, where he will have to make the difference, though. He could go out now and still get 2 runs in, and indeed PSR Nick is heading out the pit lane down through that tricky little complex, which caught Lucas out in Q1, didn't get a lap time in as a result, but slow and steady is going to not win you the race out of the pit lane, but just make sure you get on the circuit. That is a good start. Placky will be up first, I believe. No, just following PSR Kai, who set the first lap in Q2, will now lead us away for the second runs in the session as well. Oh, so once again, up the hill, down the crest, and then into turns 1, 2, and 3. And trust me, that will be a lot steeper in real life than it looks on the game.
It definitely is. It's not laser scanned, unlike Silverstone and the other tracks that, of course, have been laser scanned on F1 23. 500's up there in the first sector, 16.8. Sav there in the chat saying as well, he went for dinner, and apparently that he didn't know he was racing, and he did no practice, and was going to have dinner at the normal time. He's currently in second. Whether or not that remains to be seen, when the drivers go into a fresh set of softs, remains to be seen, and he could be out potentially Q2 as a result of the decision. Hopefully the dinner was nice though, as Kai now comes in toward Beaker de Pato at turn number 10. Once again, pretty much the highest point on the track, cascading now down the hill through the left-hander of Merculio, otherwise known as Dive in English, and then through the left-hander of turn number 12 as Jun Sao, which means junction in English as well. I swear I've done English translation at all of these corners. Through 14 at Subida dos Boxes, which is the ascent of the pits, and then through turn 15 at Bleachers corner at Arquipancada, so now on the run to the line with Kai, and he goes quickest for the 107.6, and hopefully you got a lesson not only in my translation skills, but also in the corner names around here.
I'll tell you what, I had no idea, considering it was a bit of a late call-up for me. I was streaming about 45 minutes ago. I was playing ranked, and then I got the call that I was doing it. So I'm a bit underprepared, naturally, but not to worry. I'm getting a brilliant lesson in Portuguese. I'm getting a brilliant lesson on how to tackle Sao Paulo at the moment as well. Who is going to be next? It looks like an Alpha Tauri of TFEZO, who's yet to set a lap time. He's actually going to start his latest flying lap. Then next up will be Mubarak, who is indeed on a flying lap. Can he go up with his fellow OP drivers? Yes, he can. Just slots in behind Benza, who has now gone quickest as well into the 7.5s for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, lightning quick in that middle sector. 50.8 it was through the middle sector from Benza, and he is looking, I've got to say, very, very strong indeed. Kai there in second, Asacom now in third, so the OP guys once again getting towards the top, PSR there. And actually, speak about this for symmetry, and Jack's just ruined it, he's gone fifth. I was about to say, it was OP PSR, OP PSR, OP PSR, and Mubarak with OP there in seventh, but Jack has just ruined it and split the entirety of that symmetry that was going on. An absolute fool. Well, very good lap time, I'm going to say, from Jack, but a fool for actually breaking the symmetry and breaking my point that I was going to make there as well. But it's Benza out on top from Kai in second, Asacom there in third. Evan's certainly happy with how Benza is performing. This is one of the first times I think I've actually commentated on Benza, and he is doing such a phenomenal job. And this is how you want to make your statement. Of course it's Brazil, this is a social race, but you want to be making not only a statement for other leagues as well, but also for console tier 1. Benza so far doing exactly that, pretty much towards the top end of Q1, now towards the top end of Q2 so far with 5 minutes to go. And Evan saying in the chat he's full of confidence, saying Benza is winning the championship. I'm not going to bet him any money that he's going to win the championship, but if that comment is right towards the end of the season, Evan is the first person that is going to be thanked.
Screenshot it, bookmark it, frame it on your wall, do whatever you want with that comment. I'd love to come back to it on October the 20th and see if that is right. But, you know, I hate to admit things like this, but I've not watched too much of Benza myself, and again, a driver that is just jumping out, standing out at the moment in front of both of our eyes, so that is absolutely fantastic to see. Of course, probably looking comfortable late on in qualifying here, but there are going to be drivers going onto fresh sets of soft tyres now and really maximising their Q2 potential. I believe it's actually a Friday night qualifying on the realistic setting, so the sun actually dipping now. Track maybe getting a little bit cooler. That's where we might see some of the quicker lap times.
Yeah, potentially so. And obviously with drivers, I think either going on to a fresh set of soft compound tyres or still using some of their used sets, we are still, I think, off the peak of what we could see in terms of the fastest lap times around here. We've got Benza on a 107.5, who's just a class above the rest at the minute, but the rest sticking at 107.6s, 107.7s. On the last game, I believe in Q3, we were beginning to see the 107.2s, the 107.3s, the real big stunning lap times that we saw from the console tier 1 guys last season, and indeed in Legacy Division as well. So it really speaks volumes, I think, that not only has the handling model changed, not only has the tyre model changed as well on this game, but also the driver's style has changed as well, which I think is half of the argument by saying, oh, we're seeing slower lap times in Q2, we could see slower lap times again in Q3, but it brings about, I think, the real change and the real authenticity and the realism, I think, that Comos have tried to do with the handling model and the tyre model.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are still a few imperfections, such as the sliding, and you can benefit a little bit from that. Of course, to counteract that in the past, they've just got gone, okay, everybody's just run 50% brake bias. So there is actually a little bit of thought behind it. If you're struggling on the fronts, you know, you might want to shift the brake bias rearwards and vice versa when it comes to the race. So again, it just keeps the drivers on their toes a little bit more cognitive aspect, if you like, and of course their driving styles to go with it. In the first few weeks, you hear a lot of comments, oh, I hate this game, but actually it just sort of comes to them as they keep on practicing, and these social races have been a brilliant opportunity to do that. So let's see then, 2 minutes to go in Q2, and the drivers, whether they like the game or not, will have to prove what they are capable of now.
Well, put it this way, I don't think Luca thought it'd be liking Schumacher getting the jump on him coming through Jun Sao. Actually, Schumacher nearly made contact with Luca Thought coming through in towards the left-hand of turn number 12. But anyways, he's on his lap on the run down in through to right-hand of turn number 2, and that is already a mess up there from Schumacher through the centre S, over-rotating the car on the rear. He's in 11th position. That is him going to be guaranteed, I'm sure, out of Q2, which is unfortunate for him. Mubarak as well just starting up on a lap. Luca Cott was next up, who was showing not purple in the first sector, so he might be actually slightly down through the first sector. But Schumacher there in 11th position looks out. I think we've only got a minute to go in the session. The yellow flags in sector 2 are blocking that. Yeah, just over a minute to go in the session, so he's actually got another chance at another run. But Schumacher not entirely out of this yet. But Luca Cott now coming through the left-hander of turn number 9, and then into the right-hander of turn number 10 at Pico de Pato, otherwise translate as Duckbill. Yes, as Duckbill through turn number 10, because we're next to the lake, of course, here in Sao Paulo. Coming through the left-hander of turn number 12, and he's 600 up through the middle sector, so Luca Cott really trying to drive the car out of turn number 12. Now coming through the left-hander of 14, through to those boxes, running down the straight in towards turn number 15. It's Benza out on top, Kai in second, Asa coming third, but I don't think that'll last for long, because Luca Cott goes the line, and he goes second and splits the pair of Benza and Kai. Very good lap time from him, and that assures a Q3 spot for the OP man.
Yeah, Tia Fezzo now crossing the line as well and has gone quickest by about 7/100ths of a second. A nice lap there from Fezzo. We're waiting on Bradis now to cross the line. He's gone 8th, not entirely safe in this qualifying session. Axe a couple of hundredths up. Still Mubarak and Schumacher going again, and indeed Placky now crossing the line. He's gone 8th. That pushes Bradis down an additional position. And on the cusp of elimination in Q2, Mubarak's slightly down, 0.076 of a second at the moment. Nick has gone quickest again. He's left it late, and it has paid off, getting the best of the track conditions, and he will finish Q2 on top. Mubarak, has he found time in the final sector? It'd be clutch if he has. No, he's lost time, about half a second in fact. Don't think he had enough ERS to really bring into the line. Axe needs a big lap, has found a 10th. How's the final sector looking? Even better. Fans a little bit more time, has gone 5th, and that should be that in qualifying unless Schumacher has a response.
It is indeed, and Evan there saying in the chat, apparently, because Jack's AI crashed out on track, he somehow scraped through by 1,000th of a second ahead of Jerry Van Bussel, who was just literally this second, as I've just looked at it, he's literally just been knocked out on my screen because of the AI crashing out on track. So Jack there in 10th position, Jerry Van Bussel in 11th, 1,000th of a second separating Q2 from Q3. So unfortunate for Jerry Van Bussel, so lucky I've got to say for Jack. In the end, the timing's glitching there. The timings have fixed themselves, certainly on my end. Jack there ahead of Jerry Van Bussel. But you have to say that in terms of that glitch definitely needs to be fixed. Apparently it happened in PSGL, I think it was PC last night. It might have happened in PCF4, if I'm not mistaken. That might have happened as well. But Jack there, very fortunate to get through, not only because his AI car crashed, but Jack very, very lucky to get ahead of Jerry Van Bussel, who was literally on the edge in terms of his lap there as well. But let's have a run down when the McLaren eventually gets into the back of the pit garage. It is, though, Nick out on top, and actually, there's a glitch going on, and I will say that in a second. But Nick out on top from Fezzel there in second, Schumacher there in third, Benza in fourth, just less than 10th of a second covering the top 4, Luca Cart there in 5th, Axe in 6th, Kai there in 7th, Asacum and 8th, and Kimber in 9th are apparently through on our screen. Jack, because he crashed out in AI, is in 10th, and is out, apparently, of Q2, according to this. Jerry Van Bussel, Blackie, Bradders, Sav, and Mubarak are the top 15. And if Jack is in Q3, then he's got a chance, obviously, you said, in pole position. If not, then I guess the question to ask is, what do we do in this situation? Because it's unfair for one driver, and it's messing up the rest of the lobby. How do we go about potentially fixing this? It's a very, very rogue one, as there's only 9 drivers in Q3, so Jack knocked out, as a result of that glitch, out of Q2, which is wholly unfair.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jack, he won't take part in Q3, but the whole one driver situation, the rest of the lobby is stable at the moment. I don't think there is real cause for any sort of intervention for that. Of course, commiserations to him. I think it happened in PCF1, didn't it, over in PSGL?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's clearly a common glitch around here, but we can pass that on, can't we? Luke has been doing a brilliant job with that, has been reporting some of the crossplay issues and some of the wider issues as well. So hopefully that will be on the upcoming patch list very, very soon. But as we resume our testing social race, of which this is the penultimate social race, another one scheduled for next Friday, hopefully with a sprint race. Just reminding those who have just joined us for the first time this evening, it's now Q3, 9 drivers out there. Again, should be seeing some scrub sets before the main event in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. Evil Master there saying in the chat, it's just how the AI reacts after crossing the line sometimes. It kills itself. Yeah, I think it's the potentially the coding in the game, how they've coded the AI, I think. That might just need a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of fixing. It's nothing that they can't fix. It will definitely be fixed, and I'm sure it will be reported in the next patch update, whenever that next patch potentially could come out. I know with the tyre wear situation, they took a week to fix it, which was absolutely brilliant, and I was saying to everyone, oh, it's only going to take 2 or 3 weeks. Anyways, Schumacher's going to interrupt us, coming through the left-hand turn number 1 and 2, but already butchers his lap again, coming out the centre S, invalidates out of turn number 3, and that is not how you want to start Q3, my friend. As Asakoma's on the run down towards turn number 1 as well, but Benzer is one of the furthest on, and actually he nearly... Did he make a mistake there? Coming out of... It's a 16.7 in the first sector. I thought he made a mistake on the exit of turn number 3 there. Might have been wrong. Might have just been my reactions, but Benzer coming up the hill now in towards Ferradura at turn number 6, otherwise known as Horseshoe Curve, now through turn number 7 in towards Curva de Laranja, is now coming down the hill in towards Pinheiro, otherwise known as Pine Tree, because there is a famous pine tree on the right-hand side underneath where the arches are, which coming past here through turn number 10 at Pico de Pato, now coming in toward the left-hander for turn number 11, and Benzer already trying to put himself on the map, 50.7 in the middle sector, as fast as we've seen all night from the OP man, up the hill once again with the sun blazing in the driver's eyes, now come through left-hander 14, into the left-hander turn number 15, Kimberrad on top, hasn't had a lap time, isn't out of the pit lane just yet, but Benzer, first lap time on the board, it's a 107.4 to start off the night for Q3, very good lap time for Benzer, but I'm still going to say there's going to be improvements to be found.
Yeah, definitely. Luca Cup Purple in the first sector. PSR Nick will be up next. And again, he is setting the timing sheets are light at the moment, with Purple running right to the edge of that exit curb at Junsao, and now flat to the line, barely corners, turns 13, 14 and 15. Those still named in all that Brazilian spirit. Nick crosses the line, goes third fastest, about 4 tenths slower than Benzer at the moment. It looked promising, but maybe again just a scrub set of tyres, and we'll leave it late like he has done in Q1 and Q2. Luca Kart will be next up though, again round to Junsao.
Yeah, 51.2 in the middle sector, not doing anything special, to be honest, Luca Kart on this lap. I think very fortunate, along with Nick, to get into Q3, given how their pace was for the majority of the Q2 session, as Luca Kart now comes to the line well off the pace. 108.5, that is definitely a scrub set of compounder tyres. I have a feeling he's made either 1 or 2 mistakes there in that lap as well. The VSR man, of the NVR man, I should say now, of Vax, formerly of VSR, comes up the hill through in towards Laranja at turn number 8, and we'll see what he is going to do in terms of this lap. The Ferrari has been showing good pace so far in the social race. Of course, remember, it is just a social race. This is mainly for testing purposes, but it's also good for these drivers to put themselves pretty much on the line in terms of the racing and in terms of what laps they can set and give you guys as a real good insight in terms of what might be happening in Console Tier 1 this season. As we now come up the hill in towards the beat of those boxes once again, and Axe was down in that middle sector. He's going to go anywhere between Nick and Lukaku, I think, with this lap. I can give you pretty much my whole entire earnings on this one. And in fact, actually, I've just said that. He's gone quicker than Nick. I'll shut up now.
Are you sure you're gambling your whole earnings? You can take it back if you want.
I will.
Gamble responsibly, guys, please. Fezzo will be up next, I do believe, as Lukaku has gone into the pit lane. You can recharge and do 2 laps if you abort your first, and now Fezzo goes quickest, crossing the line with a 107.395, our quickest lap time of the evening. Will Kai beat it? No, he's coming around the 15th and final corner as we speak, and will cut the timing beam and does go quicker, not by much, by 100th of a second. Kai quickest about halfway through Q3.
Yeah, 1200ths of a second separating Kai and Fezzo out there on top. Bender there in third, Asa coming fourth there on outlaps at this stage. Schumacher just on up on a lap as well. But we're on board with Kimber coming out of the Tito de Lago at turn number 4 and 5. Up the hill and towards Ferradura once again into turn number 6. And of course, first Grand Prix around here in 1973, 4.3 kilometres. And of course the 2D rest zones to really mark the last time around, the lap times around here as well, and to mark a lot of good overtaking as well, with the race distance being 95 mile dead on in terms of the race distance to 36 laps. We now come through once again with Kimber through Magulio at turn number 11 in towards Juntao at turn number 12, and again a 51 flat in the middle sector suggests to me in the middle sector certainly he's on a scrub set of tyres. The PSL man now runs up the hill in toward the left hand of turn number 14 as I catch a chill coming from my window on the left hand side as Kimber on the run towards the line shall go toward the top end of the field, but he goes 6th and only 800ths of a second there off Axe, so not a bad lap there at all from him. Schumacher now on the run to the line as well was quicker than Axe in the middle sector, and he goes 5th, so 107.605 from Schumacher, but still Kai out on top. Fezzel there in second, Benza there in third, and Benza unfortunately getting this and next lap invalidation, otherwise he invalidated out of the first couple of corners.
Yeah, it looks like it, because he was still 7 thousandths down in the first sector, and I think he's pushing on here, maybe to just get a feel ahead of his final run, and you cannot blame him at the moment. He might well be green at the moment. We don't know that until he gets to the second sector split line, and he's starting to just back off now. Red light flashing on the rear of his McLaren, indicating that he has turned his ERS off, and yeah, he's lost more time there in the middle sector as well. Asikome pretty much even with his personal best first sector, but it is just a few corners, the shortest of the 3 sectors on the lap. Schumacher heading around the final corner now as well, and this will be an in lap for him, so we await Asikome again has backed off this lap, so everybody will pull back into the pit lane. A couple of minutes of downtime before they all head out again, hoping to secure the penultimate social race pole position.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, Asakum's going to go on for another lap. I thought he was backing off in the first sector. I saw him backing off there in the first sector as he now comes through the right-hand return number 2 at the centre S, and we'll see what the OP man can do, what the Pro Exhibition man can do as well on the run down the hill, down Retroposta, which is translated to opposite line, believe it or not, in Portuguese and in Spanish, as we now come through the left-hander of turn number 4 and 5. I swear I'm going to be doing everyone's heads in with these translations, but as I come up the hill and towards turn number 6 at Ferradura, then through right-hander turn number 7, and then through the right-hander again for turn number 8 at the highest point of the track at the no-name corner, apparently, as I've got on my notes, for Liz Loanha coming out of turn number 8, down toward Bico de Pato at turn number 10. We'll see what Asicum is like in this middle sector, and of course, part of the Italian outfit, he is an Italian driver himself as well. Asicum through the middle sector, 50.7, purple in the middle sector, so he's looking very good in terms of this lap. The sun shines on the Italian now, coming up the hill into the left-hander of turn number 14, and then down Archibon Carlos at turn number 15. The Italian back into the pit lane. Typical juices us into the pit lane. Asicum there, 4th position, was looking very, very good. Wants to not cross the line because otherwise he would have been setting a delta time for everyone else. He goes there in 4th. Is that smart, or is that just a little bit of tomfoolery from the Italian?
Well, he might have. Yeah, well, we don't know for sure if he has a fresh set available to him? You'd assume so, based on the decision to come into the pit lane. But for OPS Sikome, he will have a quick turnaround, but he should have plenty of time to go again. And interestingly, it's Nick first up this time. And I think if he crosses the line as it stands, he can abort his first run and go for a second if he has enough time as well. So we await PSR Nick. No, I think he's doing a double out lap, James.
Yeah.
So you can see he's using up his fuel, max revs, do a little bit of braking application as well, just to maximise the fuel usage, make his car as light as possible for the final run. Smart move there by PSR Nick. Plenty of tactics going on as they all want the quickest lap time in the session. Everyone bar Kimber out on the circuit.
Yeah, Schumacher's doing exactly the same thing, I think, coming up the hill as well, running very high revs, I've got to say, coming through the left-hander of turn number 14 and then through the left-hander of turn number 15. He's just preparing for his lap, but he hasn't got on his DRS, he hasn't got on his ERS either. The Schumacher is backing off of this lap as well. Benzer's going to be one of the next to come across the line as well. Axe is on the run down towards turn 1. He is using up a little bit of ERS. Schumacher just getting in the way there, actually, slightly. Coming out of 1 and 2, might have just put off Axe slightly. Didn't put him off actually coming through there. But now, on the run down and towards turn number 4, at the seat of the log, on a 16.7 in the first sector. Looking very quick, the Ferrari man, as now comes through left-hander turn number 4. Verstappen Hamilton, famously having their battle in 2021. Dare I say that again on the chat? Probably not. But Axe now coming through the right-hander to turn number 7, in toward Laurent Howard, turn number 8. And actually, so far wide out of turn number 7, not only was he breaking out the Brazilian border, he actually broken track limits out of turn 7 as well.
Yeah, he did. Nasty moment there for Axe, and again, he's just pumping his throttle at the moment, just trying to use up some fuel and indeed do the latest technique that has been found in terms of saving ERS. Usually you'd have to go into neutral, just rev it out, and you'd have ERS available to you instantly. Drivers improvising then late on in the session. 20 go. Luca Kart starting his final flying lap as well. PSR Kimber likewise, and it will be Axe, the next car, followed by Benzer. And he's 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Will he take pole position, or indeed provisional pole position? Yes, he has. A tenth and a bit ahead of PSR Kai. A bit of a lock up there as well as he waves through the Alpine. Is that enough for OP Benzer?
Asacum and validated, I think, coming out of turn number 3, so he's playing no further part in Q3. Fezzo was actually improving out of the first sector. Nick now disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. Don't know where that is, actually. That's actually coming out of turn number 6 and 7. Fezzo, though, apparently is purple in the middle sector to 50.4 from the Talon Factory man up the hill in toward the left-hander now of turn number 14. And now can Fezzo strike gold in terms of P1? Here out on track through Archie Buncarless now turn 15 on the run to the line with Fezzo. Should go quickest, does go quickest by a good margin as well. Nearly a tenth and a half of a second ahead of Benzer. Schumacher there is on a lap as well. He's looking pretty good as he now comes through the left-hander once again. Turn number 11 and 12, and Schumacher is a tenth up, but he's not improving. Kimber improves there to 4th as well. Axe is not Axe is improving, 50.8, but he's not going to go anywhere near towards the top end of the field. But it's Fezzo out on top, surely. Axe there to the line. He goes in the end 8th and stays 8. 107.7 improvement. Schumacher to the line, jumps ahead of Asacum. Very good lap from him. But it's Fezzo out on top from Benzer there in 2nd. He went early on his lap, did Benzer. And in the end, it is Fezzo out on top and Talon Factory cooking like they did in Legacy Division.
Absolutely, a great end to qualifying there, and it's TF Fezzo quickest by about a tenth and a half. A really strong effort there at the end. Asikome invalidating his final run. PSR Nick going the wrong way at turn 6 and 7. Plenty of drivers that would have loved to be up there that aren't. Eliminations in Q1 that were quite key. Rusty, Levi, those sorts of caliber of drivers missing out on this final shootout, where the field started to spread out a bit, about 6 tenths in this session, but it's been so much closer tonight, and hopefully that carries on over into the race. TFSO, your pole sitter, what a session that was.
Yeah, and we've got 36 laps worth of racing. Before then, though, we're going to have a word from our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing and indeed GridFinder, goodness me. We'll be back in about 50 seconds or so. And that, of course, was a word from our sponsors, Next Level Racing, and indeed GridFinder as well. Hope you're all doing well on this fine Friday evening. Well, Friday evening's turned to Friday, nearly midnight, I think, in Brazil terms. Overcast conditions here for the race, here for the social race, of course, for Console Tier 1. And Joseph, coming into tonight, we saw two new names towards the top end of the field, Fezzo and Bender. They didn't actually compete in Console Tier 1 last season, but they're already striking terms in terms of their fantastic racing and in terms of their fantastic laps in qualifying.
Yeah, indeed, and again, the clouds just building in at the moment as well, so that makes for some interesting conditions. Always the possibility of some rain jeopardy, but we were instructed to use the perfect settings, so if it says there's no rain, there's no rain. That's the end of that. Hopefully we should have a straightforward strategy with a mix of some safety cars as well. That could become very distorted. Let's see then, formation lap ahead of us, I think. I put it on, so blame me if there isn't one, but yeah, there is a formation lap, and we can talk tyres.
We can talk tyres indeed, we can talk strategies, we can talk everything, and it's a real mix actually in terms of the tyres that we have on offer. The top 9 bar Jack on a set of hard compounded tyres, Jack of course being the one in the sole top 10 on that set of soft compounded tyres. Everyone else further down the field, we've got, I believe, 5 on a set of hards. That is Jerry Van Bussel, Placky, Bradders, Sav, and Choco. At least I could count. I thought there was 6 there, but there's 5 on a set of hards. Couple on a set of medium compounded tyres, Mubarak and Levi in 15th and 19th position respectively, and the rest, Rusty, Lars, and Lucas there on a set of soft compounded tyre. And in terms of strategy, normally we see hards to mediums, mediums to hards, but drivers going under a set of soft compounded tyres, maybe a bit of impetus there, potentially on the weather, and indeed on the situation regarding that. Soft compounded tyres tend to operate slightly worse in terms of overcast conditions as well. So if you were out on track right now, Joseph, which strategy would you be picking for your car? And most importantly, where would you be starting on the grid?
Well, I'd probably last based on these bunch, because they are incredibly talented, as we know. But of course, those that have gone for the softs have fresh softs available. Jack L in 10th, of course, being a bit of an outlier there because he didn't do Q3, so he has possibly a fresh unreserved set of tyres available. But you do need a safety car. There's a massive risk. I'm quite a straightforward guy. I'd like to put a set of hards. To be honest, even if there is an early safety car, you can turn it into 2 sets of mediums. It's just about timing, it's just about good fortune, and just who is going to have that luck today in our penultimate social race.
Yeah, it is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Again, watch out for the likes of Rusty, Lars Kramer, especially starting on that set of soft compounded tyres. They're 17th and 18th. By the end of the first lap, I would not be surprised if they're 10th and 11th, or even further higher up the field on that sort of soft compounded tyre. But we're now getting onto the grid. The 5 red lights about to go out here in WOR for Console Tier 1 for the social race here in Brazil. Penultimate one before the season starts, as Kimber's been disqualified for reversing up the start line. 5 red lights about to go on here, and it is lights out, and away we go, and Faisal gets a very good start. Bender alongside him gets a stronger start, and is going to actually try and challenge him in towards turn 1. The McLaren up the inside on the AlphaTauri tries to get the move in towards turn 1. There's already a car off. That Schumacher, I think, going way off in through turn 1, cutting the centre rest, but Faisal there lead. Coming out of turn 2 through the Cover del Sol, there's a bit of contact, and there's huge carnage in the background. Jerry Van Bussel is round, Jack is round, Lucas getting caught up in that slightly as well. Mubarak has been caught up on that, and he loses a few positions in terms of an illegal overtake, but Faisal there leads. Benzo in second, Kai in third. Front end of the field, very, very good. Mid-pack through. Ferradura in towards turn 6, okay. Rusty already up into 11th position, but the big talking point is the Red Bull there goes wide of Rusty, who's got potentially damage there on the side pod. Kimber, though, out of the race, and and there's more contact as well. Levi getting spun there. I'm not sure if there was contact before him, but it's certainly end plate damage on Rusty now. Kimber, though, disqualified, reversing off the pit lane, which I have never seen in my 10 years of league racing commentary.
And I tell you what, I'm not getting notifications at the top of the screen, so I wouldn't have been able to tell you that. But it looked like he started the race, and then, of course, just came to a halt down the Reta Reposta. Such a strange situation there with Kimber if he, provides evidence of that sort of thing, something that will be investigated post-race, and hopefully coming in a patch as well if it is a lasting glitch. But great battling in the mid-pack, softs and hards coming to blows here. Lars Kramer, Choco, NVR Lucas are sort of alternating pack there. Levi has come into the pits and retired. Rusty has left the session as well. I don't know if he's called it quits for the entire evening. Levi certainly has.
Oh my word!
Of course, in retiring onto the grass goes Lars Kramer. No way through on PSR Blackie. What we've got left though is a brilliant battle, and still on it goes Lars Kramer looking for Eddie. Look at the other Alfa Romeo of Lucas going down the inside at turn 8. Has he cleared Choco? It looks like he has around the outside, but he's onto the grass and he's not finished yet into turn 10. Lucas late on the brakes, and up he goes into 12th.
Yeah, definitely so. Was Savas losing positions there. I'm not sure if he had a mistake there coming out of turn number 10. A Biko de Pato, but Fezzle there leads the way. Benza in second, Kai there in third. Evil Masters there saying in the chat, it is the bug with the formation app. It is indeed, because I got that in Las Vegas in a social race that I did in another league, which is very, very hard to come by and needs fixing ASAP. As Lars once again is through on Placky, running down straight in towards turn 1. But talk about Lucas going around the outside at turn number 9. Not often you see a move around the outside of turn number 9, but these cars and this handling model really does thrive overtaking. Fantastic stuff, and now we're going to get Lucas once again on the back of Placky this time, down the Retroposta, into the Cedar Largo. Should be job done for Lucas. Absolutely flies up the inside line, and Lars is getting a phenomenal run off the Cedar Largo as well, on the inside of Saab. Saab now having to maybe give up the position, and Lars is through and he's into 9th position. Talk about turning a negative into a positive from qualifying. Lars making his way through the field. Lucas there in 11th as well, and Danny there saying in the chat as well that the undercut potentially is a bug. And you watch the soft guys in the undercut, they all get on the guys on the sort of hards. The strategy I'd go for myself, undercut is so powerful at Brazil, he says. And Danny, I think, is totally right at this stage.
Yeah, I agree as well. And just a word on the soft runners, of course, when you have a poor qualifying, the mistake...
Lucas round.
Oh, forget it. I was going to mention Lucas. I was going to mention his need for a bit of early race ego, a little bit of confidence, knowing that you are quicker on a fresh set of softs than those around you. He's gone and spun at Shinsao. Of course, Lars Kramer needs to carry that on for me now. But, yeah, well, that's just sort of ruined what I was going to say. But the DRS is now enabled. We might see a move for the lead here, James. Here comes OP Benza down the inside at turn 4, and he's got the lead.
He has indeed. Beautiful stuff from Benza, leading the way there from Fezzle, but Fezzle's going to try and get him back up the hill and towards Ferradura. He's not going to get the move done there, my son. But Kai there in third, doing a good job. Schumacher just sitting in turn in 4th position, and look at the telemetry and look at the ERS that Kai has got. Certainly 100% full battery for Kai at this stage early on. Fezzle's on 84%, Benza on 95%, and in terms of the medium that you're seeing at the top end of the telemetry as well, new feature for F1 23, that is to indicate what fuel mode they are using as well. Very good initiative, I think, from Co-Masters. Gives us more to think about in terms of strategy and in terms of commentary as well. Benza, though, leading the way from Fezzle in second. Fezzle, I don't think is going to be enticed by a battle on Benza. He might have to defend, though, off Kai, who's charging at him, actually, down in towards turn number 1. Fezzle closing in very quickly indeed on the back of Benza. And now we get the box train in toward the left-hand of turn number 1. And a slight tap, I'm not sure there, from Fezzle on the back of Benza. But Benza there leading the way. Fezzle there in second, and Fezzle now on the back. Talent Factory against OP. The good old rivalry once again in WOR Console Tier 1. But OP just currently out on top from Benza, with Benza out on top. Fezzle there in second, Kai in third, and more battles going on down the field as Mubarak has cleared Choco around the outside of turn number 4. Gets the job done.
Yeah, nice move there by OP Mubarak, and Choco just has to be patient. He knows he doesn't really and can't really fight those that are on the better compounds at the moment. But PSR Kai with his ERS and, well, Fezzo and Benza have been able to charge right back up to 100 as well. Any use of overtake can actually quite punish the amount of battery you've got. We saw in qualifying, even on the hot lap mode, drivers were getting down to about 10% coming towards the end of the lap as well. So you do want to use it sparingly. It's one big trade at the moment from first down to 14th, and so overtaking is not going to be too prominent unless anybody wants to secure that track position, such as Lars Kramer, who's going to be gaining and has used a lot more ERS at the moment. Fezzo has taken the lead of the race, a bit of a rear lock as well. Benza having a bit of contact from behind. PSR Kai had a look around the outside as well, and there are some movements at the front of the field.
And here's Benzer again down the inside line in towards the retro poster, in towards the Cedar Largo, gets the job done. Is he late on the brakes? No, he gets the job done. Benzel through and he's into the lead. Fezzo in second. For that little bit of contact as Fezzo's going to try and fight side by side up the hill in towards Ferradura. A, never go for the move around the outside of that. It's not going to work. And B, never go side by side in general because you might end up intra box effect, intra bit of contact, and that is what the big trainer's forming in behind, because look at Bradders around the outside of Luca Cod in 6th and 7th, right involved in the middle of this train, looking to try and dice his way through in towards Beacon Abato at turn number 10. Can't get the job done through there. Lars Kramer sitting pretty at the back end of this train as well. Sav getting involved in this as well. But we've got a 10-car train at this moment in time for the race lead. It's Benzer now just beginning to try and skirt away by 6/10 of a second from Fezzel there in second, Kai there in third, and Kai sitting pretty again. More arrest than Fezzel at this stage, but Fezzel's got such great straight line speed down the straight towards turn number 1. He's got to risk the move in towards turn 1, pulls the car alongside, and the Talent Factory man once again takes the lead. No rear locking this time from Fezzel as the sun now blazes on Brazil. Fezzel there leads the way from Benzer in second, Kai there in third, and now we could get once again a repeat down the straight towards the Cedar de Largo.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact again. Benzer just smacking his front right end plate on the rear left tyre of Fezzo as he was still there down the inside at the first corner. Good run again from PSR Kai, but he won't want to risk the move. Coming up through turn 6 and 7 now, and up the hill we go. Just a word on Axe, actually. He's down in P8 at the moment, and I say that just going to interrupt myself as PSR South has sent one down the inside of Lars Kramer. Those hard starting to come into play now, and he's forced off the track as well. Smashes through Lenovo advertising. They won't like that too much, or would rather prefer it, as it's good publicity for them. Sav down a few positions, having tried the move on Lars Kramer. Placky has taken the opportunity as well, and he's up into P9.
Yeah, and I don't think Sav's going to be getting a Lenovo piece of technology anytime soon with that advertising out on track as well. But he takes it with him, with maybe a little bit of polystyrene in his car as well. From the back, once again, is on the back of Lars Kramer and toward the left-hand of turn number 1. Now, 1 lap 8 out of 36. This is where the mediums are going to begin to come into play. The softs just beginning to wear off. Placky now ahead of Lars Kramer as well in all of that as well, as I'm going to interrupt myself because here's Benz on the inside line of Fezzel once again. The age-old battle on the PS side, at least, between Talent Factory and OP really going at it here in the social race. It's fantastic to witness. Benz in their lead. Fezzel there in second, Kai there in third, Schumacher there, very close quarters there in fourth. But again, there's so much action going on down the field. We need to Ted Kravitz, I think, with us in the commentary box right now to keep up with this. As Sav on the back again, and Mubarak into the right-hander of turn number 8. So that's Choco, in fact, on the back of Sav. In towards the right hand of turn number 8, nearly making a bit of contact there with him. But a stunning driving so far, even though we haven't had a safety car or a VSC, and I'm not willing to try and put my life on the line to say there's one coming. There could be at any time. Benzel there leads the way from Fezzo in second, Kai there in third, and Kai now has got the run already on Fezzo. Fezzo up the straight is going to have to be forced into the move here on Benzer. Kai might have the double toe actually on the both of them, and run now in towards turn 1, 3 abreast, and we are going to see at least 2 wide in towards turn 1. Benzer tries to lock up on the brakes, tries to hang it around the outside. This is going to be perfect for Kai. Gets the switch back. That is switched back to perfection around the outside. Can Kai get the move done? Schumacher involved in this battle as well, and now Schumacher, like an absolute blitzkrieg to the inside line, trying to get the job done to the inside line, and the speed difference is telling. Schumacher takes the lead of the race in Brazil. Kai in second, Fezzo in third. They got caught on each other coming out of turn number 2 and 3. Benzer now on the back foot, and Fezzo there on the back foot as well, as Kai is back through to second, and now all hell is breaking loose in Brazil.
Yeah, banging wheels still. OP, Benzer and TF Fezzo a moment ago, they were fighting for the race lead, and Fezzo's run out wide as he spun, and the Williams has got with him of Luca Card. It was starting to get hairy in there, and maybe a bit too much for the drivers. They just couldn't contain their excitement because the initial part of that battle was sensational. Kai with the initial switchback, and through came Schumacher from 4th to 1st. It's very rare that I use Williams and Schumacher in the same sentence, but it was. And Kai is going to retake the lead. He did have it momentarily. He definitely does now, but don't rule out a re-overtake from Schumacher into turn 4.
And Benza again, very late on the break, on the back of Fezzo. Evil more damage that I said in chat, Blood said Blitzkrieg. I will take that back immediately in terms of that comment. I apologise for anyone offended as a result of that. It's just what comes to my head sometimes, and I am an unfiltered commentator at the best of times as well. But Kai out on top from Schumacher there in second. Schumacher got such a good run, which is what I was saying in terms of his speed. He got this phenomenal run coming out of turn number 3. All of that action happening on the outside of him. He cut to the inside coming out of turn number 3. Got the job done. I wish we had replay cameras on that battle because it was fantastic to watch. Fezzo and Bender, they're in 3rd and 4th. I think they're getting... they've made it now personal between them both. Judging by the rear locking, judging by the late breaking in towards turn number 9 from Fezzo's end as well. Fezzo there, making it maybe personal with Bender, and that is not going to be the last of that in this race. Of turn number 1, but Kai there leading the way from Schumacher in 2nd. Fezzo there in 3rd. Apologies, we just lost you there for a second on the stream. We are back. Hopefully it'll remain that way as well. There is a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that is, I believe, Lucas round. Coming out of turn number 12 at Jun Sao. Kai there leading the way, Schumacher in 2nd, Fezzo in 3rd, and the 10 seconds that we were offline slightly on the stream. We missed absolutely nothing.
Yeah, luckily for us as well, we're able to just contain ourselves for a moment and wait to see what happens next. PSR Kai, the 4th different race leader so far in this race, though he did win the crossplay tier 3 opener last season. And now here he is amongst the crossplay tier 1 crop, leading the race as well, a potential candidate for the championship. He'll be right in with a shout of tier 1 glory, and I do hope he is a part of that because he is a fantastic driver and deserves the opportunity based on his progress from this time in season 14. However, are we going to see a move here? Schumacher has just started to drop a little bit further away from Kai, but through the slipstream and through the DRS, he's starting to close back up again to within about 2/10 as the time they're hard on the anchors into the first corner. Slightly wide is PSR Kai. This allows Schumacher to pick his line once again and maybe again go for it down in towards turn 4. Here he goes. He can't be too cautious as Fezzo will be there to take the opportunity as well. Braking for turn 4. It's as they were in this long train.
It is. Everyone in the chat, I think, laughing at some of my comments there about the blitzkrieg moment, let's just say. But we are a third of the way through. I'm going to ignore what is coming through now in the chat, but Kai there leading the way from Schumacher in 2nd, Fezzo there in 3rd. Third of the way through, a lot of action. Oh, as Fezzo gets very close there on the exit of turn number 9. Try and counteract there on Schumacher, just losing a little bit of time out of that section of the track. Kai there now beginning to put maybe a little bit of space between himself and Schumacher. What is the difference, though, in terms of F1 22 and 23 is the fantastic racing that we are getting with these cars. There's a yellow flag again. That's Lucas again, man, coming through right-hand return number 7. Fezzo now on the back of Schumacher. Is he going to try and lunge it toward the inside line at turn number 1? Maybe not. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Sparks flying there from Kai on the run towards turn 1, but Schumacher tries to break the dummy in towards turn 1. He can't, but Kai there leading the way. Schumacher 2nd, Fezzo there in 3rd. Lars Kramer again on the back of Clacky. Fezzo, though, on the back of Schumacher once again. A little bit of lag spiking there on the run out of Center S in towards the seat of the logo at turn number 4, but Fezzo there in 3rd. Cannot find a way through, and this is the calmest it's been in about 3 or 4 laps.
JR Damage asking what was the pole time set. It was set by Fezzo, currently running in P3. I think it was a 107.18, just off the top of my head. You might want to rewind the stream and just have another look at that. He's gone slightly wide now, coming through turn 9, and here comes OB Benza looking to make the move on the AlphaTauri. Nothing doing of it, but PSR Kai has actually picked up a penalty, I think 3 seconds for track extending, and that obviously didn't appear on my screen, so I wasn't too observing of that. So I'll keep an eye through the field to see if any other penalties appear, but Kai now not in a good position as he'll have to, towards the end of the race, extend a 3-second gap if he was to continue leading. So far, he dropped to 10th based on this current penalty.
Definitely so. A little bit of pun making there going on from Damage there in the chat saying, no, I'm Damage, not Benza. Benza, I can report, has not got any front wing damage. Not visible, at least to us, on the comment section, on the commentary box, as Choco's going to pass Sav in the background and shot into the left-hand return number 4. Gets the job done. The Mercedes man And the Aston Martin Ford tonight, of course, famously had a battle in Saudi Arabia last season in Console T1. I remember I commentated on that. It was a fantastic race between them both. And, of course, in the end, Choco, I think, got a podium that day, if I'm not mistaken as well, from the top of my head. Sav in the end, I think, getting caught up in contact and making a mistake through turns 22 and 23. But Kai there leading the way from Schumacher in second, Fezel there in third. Benza there in fourth. Hasn't got any damage, I can report. Avatar there saying in the chat about that. So yeah, Benza, not any damage. If it is, it's not affecting him that much. I think it's more of his driving style. I think he's getting affected maybe more with the backwash of the dirty air in front of him with Fezel and Schumacher. But there, with Benza in fourth, he is in the prime position. And you probably want to be third or fourth right now in this stage of the race when the pit stops begin to happen. Safety car could also happen as well at any time, as I mentioned earlier on. But Kai there leading the way, Schumacher in second, Fezel in third. A quick update in terms of the penalties. We ride on board with Fezel down the straight in towards turn number 4. No penalties really for the majority of the field, apart from Kai, who's got 3 seconds, Rusty, who's got 5 for speeding in the pit lane, and Lucas for 3 as well. And that was a track invalidation, I think, on rejoining track after one of his spins. But it's Kai out on top, Schumacher second, Fezel there in third, and Avatar repeating that, saying no pace, no speed from Benza. And I totally agree, but I think, for argument's sake, I think he's now beginning to bide his time, and he's got Bradders right on the back of him.
Yeah, we're just
there goes
a
Bradders.
bit of a cycle at the moment. Here goes Bradders down the inside at turn number 10 at the big coat to Pato. Just wasn't able to hold it there. Good bit of driving from OP Benza. Left the room, but also positioned his car well enough just to make sure Bradders couldn't get the traction on the exit. And he holds P4 for now. If he is struggling with any minor wing damage, it might have been caused by the slight nudge with Fezzo at the first corner. Nobody's fault, just one of them incidents. Lars Kramer has come into the pit lane. I sort of forgot he was circulating on 14 lap on soft, but he's done a very good stint, and he will be able to go onto the hards, James, to go to the end of the race. So don't count him out, making a very big undercut here.
Well, he's not on a set of hards. He's actually on a set of medium compound tyres coming out the pit lane. It's even shocking you, I think, in terms of the strategy call here. But 21 laps on a set of mediums. I can remember back to F1 22 and then pitting around about 14, 15 laps into the race. And if it's anything like the last game, I am pretty positive that the mediums can get to the end of the race. He's got 21 laps. This is going to be a switch-on lap for him. The medium compound tyres, I'm sure, will wear off at about a 5% rate on average. Comparing to driving styles, of course, it can change. But Lars Kramer, he is a tyre saver. He is also going to try and do a big undercut on everyone else as well. So this could work out potentially brilliantly for Lars, I think, in the longer term. In the short term, however, we are still going to get battles between Fezel and Schumacher. And again, running up the hill through turn 14 and 15, Kai leading the way, Schumacher in second, Fezel in third. If I was these guys, I'd be waiting until at least lap 20-21 to come in the pit lane and put on a set of mediums. Or you can extend your stint and go into a set of soft compound tyres, as Nick is into the pit lane and he's doing the reverse of what Lars Kramer's just done. From a set of hards to a set of medium compound tyres. Mubarak there on the back of Sav as well. Sav on the back of Choco. Nobody really getting close, but Nick is going to do the role reversal. On for a set of hards, for a set of mediums, and Dallin there saying in the chat, saying mediums can get to the end. Did a race yesterday and did 26 laps. It will get harder near the end, but they can hold on. The faith man there of Dallin there in the chat, and the faith man of me in the commentary box.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I'm not driving. I'm sitting here waffling about my tyres. So yeah, apologies for that slight confusion in the pit stops. But yeah, medium's certainly able to get to the end. I've seen it done on other tracks. I've not really yet experienced much Brazil from a driving or commentary standpoint, so that would be my my excuse for that one. But will anybody fancy an undercut on this lap? Bradders is getting closer. Is he going to pull into the pit lane? No, he isn't. With the AlphaTauri in front of him, Mattia Fezzo is, as is race leader PSR Kai. Following them in as well is PSR Placky. So 3 drivers going in for a set of mediums. This is where the train just starts to disrupt itself. Gaps forming as driver's pit, and then of course racing hard on the
Sorry to
pit
cut you
exit
off.
as well.
Here's Benza on the back of Bradders once again in towards turn number 4 at the seat of the Largo, and in the end Bradders just about holds sway, but Benza's going to get a great run coming out of turn 4 and 5, but he's not going to have the legs up the hill, unfortunately, to get the Bradders. But look at all of this. This is now letting Schumacher escape up the road. Alpine 1-2 right now at this stage as well, and if Bradders was in a party with Schumacher, which God forbid, I hope he's not, but Schumacher there in the lead of the race, Bradders would be instructed, I think, at this stage, or Schumacher would be instructed on Bradders to hold Benza back and try and get a bit of a gap and try and get a little bit of breathing room when they all come out of the pit lane a little bit later on. Bradders, though, beginning to actually cast into the gap of Schumacher clearly means that they're not in the party, they're not working together as a team, that is for sure. But Schumacher leading the way, and Marcel Ulstad running up the hill through turn 14 and 15. This is surely him into the pit lane. Bradders is also in, and that's going to be a double stack for Alpine, and that is poorly timed. And what is poorly timed as well is Schumacher, 5-second penalty for speed in the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure they quite intended that, but what is the trade-off? Lose more from a double stack or lose more from an undercut? The rear Jackman just getting out of the way there as Bradders makes his pit stop. I think he would have lost more time there from that pit stop. Sav and Choco and Mubarak as well still out there on the mediums. He'll be a good indication of how far these tyres can go, but he's just run really wide at turn 4, perhaps picking up a warning for his troubles as well. Schumacher has 5 seconds, Nick has 8 seconds. Again, these aren't appearing for me, so when I look, it's quite new information to me, and I have to just keep monitoring those. But Kai, 1.3 seconds on Fezzo. Can he pull away, extend the gap to within 3 seconds, though that could all come crashing down with a safety car?
Yeah, Defender there in the chat saying, wait, what? Schumacher 5 seconds? I guess he's surprised. Not, I think, at that from Schumacher for coming in the pit lane. I've certainly seen him speed into the pits quite a few times on the PS side, which is why I'm not surprised by that either. But Schumacher on the back of Lars. Lars has performed a really good undercut, but it's now split. Look at Kai and Fezzo ahead. Lars Kramer's got 1.5 seconds to them. He's not going to be gaining that anytime soon. The best situation for him is let Schumacher go, let Nick go in behind as well, and then get a little bit of a toe into the race and save your tyres towards the end as well. As Sav is side by side with Axe in towards turn number 4 as well. That is a shocking camera angle from the Ferrari end, but Sav is through into turn number 4, through to Cedar the Largo, and he gets the job done. We are halfway through here in the social race. Sav there leading, Axe in second, Choco in third, Mubarak in fourth, and Jerry Van Bussel in fifth, yet to come in the pit lane. More action further down the field. There was Nick right on the back of Lars, and Placky getting the run on Asacom down the straight into the left-hander at turn number 4. And he gets the job done. He's through, and he's into 11th position. And Nick is trying to go around the outside on Lars Kramer in towards Ferragura. Impossible to try and pull that one off, but you know what, Nick? If there's anybody that can pull off a move around the outside, it could be him.
Yeah, indeed. As up through turn 9 they go then, and on to turn 10. Late lunge possibly from a Mercedes at Big Otapata. We've seen that end in tears before. Not this evening, as we'll have about 16 laps to go. We've got some racing at the front. Axe F1 still staying out then. Sav and Choco, though, coming into the pit lane to make their pit stop onto mediums. Axe is, I think he informed the Discord that he's got slightly less front downforce, so he is going to be a lot quicker in a straight line. So if he can get a safety car pit and get right in amongst the pack, he'll be able to defend as well, and might still have an opportunity of glory here in Brazil. OP Luca Cup becoming our third DNF. Rusty, his early departure from the session might as well have come.
I think because we've just gone off once again, we should be back now. It is very, very now sultry, I've got to say, in my room. The fan from PS4 is working overtime to try and cool down my laptop. So if there is a little bit of glitching in terms of the stream, don't worry, it's my laptop, it's nothing on your end. It's Axe there leading the way, but he's into the pits, and Mubarak actually continues on. So Mubarak continuing on that set of mediums, and that I think is for one thing and one thing only, and that is to go on for a set of soft compounder tyre towards the end of the race. Van Bussel also there. There was a yellow flag, and that is Luca Cott, I think, coming out the pit lane as Benza is through on Placky, running down the straight in towards turn number 1, and Benza there through into turn number 1, and Staples P8 on Placky, and Placky, unfortunately, might be getting a plaque for that one. That's terrible.
Yeah, Mubarak. Apologies there. I didn't want to step in too early. Schumacher there clearing Fezzo, but Mubarak maybe taking a leaf out of Lars Kramer's book and going to do about 14 laps on a set of softs. So worth noting that that is indeed possible. The slow-moving Red Bull there getting out of the way, I think. That's NRX Rusty. Jack L a little bit further on around the track. He had a horrid lap one, hasn't had a safety car to be able to recover. So unfortunately, a few drivers just getting caught on the wrong end of incidents, and that has affected their race entirely. Axe F1 rejoined in P14. He was running, I think, as high as 8th at one point. Now well out of DRS or any sort of train. Have they gone just a little bit too long? Mabarak locks his rears coming into the pit lane. A really dramatic slide. Joe Van Bussel following him in as well, and the order starts to restore itself.
It does indeed. Danny there in the chat saying, told you about the undercut. The guys who's starting to set us off is an FP1. The undercut is crazy around here. Not necessarily so. Lars Kramer's starting to set us off and he's in 5th. And he's actually off the pace compared to Nick and compared to Fezzo as well. And they've got a 2.5 second gap actually to catch from Nick to Fezzo. And that is not going to be caught quickly because Nick is on a lap older tyres than Fezzo. Lars Kramer's on 2 lap older tyres than Fezzo as well. So it's going to be very difficult, I think, for them to make up the gap. Speaking of making up the gap, Schumacher now within 7/10 of a second of the race lead from Kai on the back of him. Kai leading the race from Schumacher in 2nd, Fezzo there in 3rd at this stage. And looking through the chat there as well, Avatar saying Fezzo has got a great chance of win. And yeah, he's kept his nose clean so far, which is one thing, especially around a track like this. But he's also got 20% of ERS. Schumacher's on 14, Kai's on 21, so he's pretty much the same level as Kai. But Fezzo has got more ERS than that Schumacher, I should say. Slightly more than Kai as well, as Benzer's got to get the move done maybe on Lars Kramer down the straight in towards turn 1. He pulls the outside line, running down in towards turn 1 at the centre S, and Benzer through and he's into 5th. And I'm going to throw it out there now. Watch out for this man. He's on a fresh set of tyres. Watch out for him. He's not entirely out of this either.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anybody is until the checkered flag. Penalties for Kai, and Schumacher leaves Fezzo in the net lead of the race from 3rd. He can stay there because he's got a 3-second gap behind as well to PSR Nick. He's looking very comfortable, the pole sitter. Moment potentially further back, didn't quite catch it, but still nose to tail throughout the pack. Choco, Bradders and Sav all in this little mini train. Placky, Lars Kramer, Asikome and Benza all in their own little fight as well. So just a few separate battles forming. Like I said, the train has started to disrupt itself, and now we're just getting these battles on through to the end of the race.
Yeah, out of Duckbill, down the dive and in towards Junction at turn number 12. Junsao, of course, that is, Placky on the back of Lars Kramer through the left-hander of Junsao, and he's going to get a phenomenal run actually on the back of Lars Kramer. Lars is going to be in the back mirrors of Placky right here because Placky pulls alongside, gets now within the rear wing and gets the job done down in towards turn 1. And look at Asacum speeding at Lars in towards turn number 1 as well. Can't find the move done. Kai, Schumacher, Fez on the top 3. The top 3 currently hanging on at this stage, but Schumacher, surely it's about time that he tries to make a move for the race lead. Fakes the move in towards turn number 4, but he's right on the back of Kai, and with 11 laps to go, I honestly think for them, those guys in behind, as Asacom is through on Lars Kramer as a result of that battle for 7th, Kai, Schumacher, I think Schumacher, he normally goes for a little bit of a belligerent move sometimes down the inside as we lose Lucas out of the race, and that is actually retirement on track coming to the left-hander of turn at number 12 at Junsao. So that's unfortunate for Lucas, retiring on track, which is not great as Nick has crashed out of turn 9 and safety car.
Oh, Nick. Well, we thought Lucas might have caused something, but Nick, easy to do out of turn 9 uphill traction zone, lot of load going into the rear tyres, and yeah, it just looks like he's looped it. It didn't look like he was in a battle with anybody, so it looks like a fault on his own accord, but into the pits they go then. PSR, Kai, Schumacher, Pezzo, and everybody behind should be potentially coming in, but Benzer is staying out. There will be 1 or 2 drivers that will favour the track position and try and get themselves to the end of this race. Safety car coming a little bit too late for the likes of Axel and Choco.
Oh my word!
Stayed out there. They're all piling in. What is going on?
Sav's just overtaken Lars Kramer into the pit lane. That's what's going on. He's on the left-hand side, coming into the pit lane. I wish I had a replay camera to rewind that one back. But Sav ahead of Lars Kramer, coming in the pit lane, and he's being held up, I believe, in the pit lane as well, because he's got that 5-second penalty from earlier on, so drops him further down the field in the end, what looked like an absolute genius strategy, in the end has not worked out at all, and Sav is right down at the back end of the field, coming out of the pie. In 13th position, Jack also in the pit lane in 14th, gets him back in the race, and Rusty there in 17th. Still going to be continuing on in AI mode, unfortunately, after his early leave from the lobby. But Ben's there leading the way. Asicum in second. Axe there in third. Avatar saying in the chat, safety car, is this on purpose? No. Nick lost it coming out of turn number 9. And it's so easy to do. I've done that so many times on time trial and indeed in my league racing career as well. You get caught on, you basically take too much throttle on the exit of turn number 9. The rear's basically locked. You send in for a bit of oversteer into the left-hand side wall. That's what happened with Nick, unfortunately. Not on purpose, just an accident by himself, and unfortunately brings the safety car out. Unfortunate for him, but rather fortunate, I think, for everyone else that's gone on to a set of soft compound tyres, because Benza, Asicum and Axe, I honestly don't know what they're thinking, to be honest, going on to a set of mediums. Are they thinking that the set of softs cannot get to the end of the race, even though we saw Lars earlier on, last 14 laps?
I think they can get to the end, but in the case of Axe, I can understand why he stayed out, because he's in a lot better position, considering he was about 12th before the safety car came out. He's now up to 3rd, and fairly fresh medium tyres. He should still be able to contend towards the end of the race as well. So, yeah, this might be a beneficiary to him. Meanwhile, Benza and Asikome, yeah, they will need to form a little bit of a blockade if they want to stay on the podium much more, where on those medium tyres, yeah, much harder job for those. Brad is coming again into the pit lane. Looks like another set of softs if he hadn't already put them on. PR Jack L, this is the safety car that he needed to finally see some life in this race.
Definitely, and Jack, to be honest, has been on his lonesome throughout this race, bless him, and you have to feel sorry for him, but now he gets his chance to shine. Now he gets his chance to race. Recent signing, of course, to Parnell. I think a couple of months ago he joined the team, and Jack there in 14th, looking quite good at this stage. He's now back in contention. He is a very quick driver at the best of times as well. We saw in Lake C Division, we saw in Console Tier 1 last season as well, how he performed. And the PR man will be one to watch out for. Rusty's AI has actually came into the pit lane, and because Codemaster's game is absolutely inept in terms of the AI coming into the pits, he's gone back onto 24 lap old medium compound of tyre. And if I was in NRX Rusty's shoes right now, I'd come back into the lobby. I'd literally say to myself, what on earth am I doing on a set of mediums? I'd come back, rejoin, put on a set of soft compound tyres, rejoin the back underneath the safety car, and then make progress through the field if I was him.
Well, yeah, there is an opportunity to do that. He's still on the lead lap of the race, so somebody give him a ring. I don't know if anybody has his phone number. Discord is a good option as well, or Twitter, or anything that can notify him. But yeah, I think he gave up with this race on lap 1, unfortunately for him. It's just about finding motivation, of course, in the early stages, and indeed the late game cycle as well. But you know, it's not necessarily a good thing if you're lacking that motivation early on. Hopefully he'll be a more consistent driver though in the weeks and months to come in WOR season 15. However, I think we're waiting on him, but though he's an AI car and it's got 1 minute 15 to catch, it's come into the pit lane again. This might be a hold up on the race restart.
Potentially so. Let's see what tyres he's going to go on. They've put him back on the same tyres. Brilliant. Anyways, we should be getting the safety car in this lap. Yes, we will. The safety car coming in this lap, and that means Bender, now the virtual Burt Mander, now the virtual safety car, he can dictate the pace, so however his heart's content. Nick, by the way, saying in Discord as well, in my prime, where are the haters? And certainly has at least one, maybe two, there in the chat for the safety car being caused, but it's good for everyone else because they're on a set of softs and they can now fly. As Benza is already about to go, coming out through speed of the boxes and goes in towards IQ Bancadas now at 10:15. Axe is right on the back, actually. Vasicum on this restart as well, and Benza just getting away slightly, but Vasicum's got a good run on him in towards turn number 1. He's not going to risk it down the inside line towards turn number 1, Axe there in third, Kai there in fourth. The remainers, they are coming across through turn number 1 and 2. But look at Kai and that fresh set of soft compounded tyres right on the back of Axe. Axe gets a good run on the back of Asacom as well. We'll turn the timing trial for this one to the outside line in towards turn number 4. Goes Kai, trying to look for the move. The Ferrari though to the inside line, but Kai trying to get the switch back once again, but in the end, Axe pulls off the move. Brilliant stuff, and now Kai's going to follow on through in towards Ferraju. A great move around the outside, and you know what? He gets a move around the outside of Axe as well, who has a snap on the curb through turn 7. There's contact as well, and that was Asacom, I think, down the inside line of Placky, if I'm not mistaken. Schumacher maybe caught up in that as well, but Ben's there leading the way. Kai in second. Kai escaped that one, and just about escaped. A bit of carnage further down the field. There's more carnage as well, but Asacom making contact with Placky again, but Placky there in fourth, Asacom there in fifth, and Asacom trying to make up for lost time to the inside line, on the inside of Placky, and in the end Asacom's the one dropping down because that's Fezzo on the inside line, and Asacom absolutely shooting down the field. Kai right on the back of Benza for the race lead. It's all hell has broken loose again, as now straight into the pit wall. Kai gets the move done for the race lead, pulls across on Benza in towards turn 1, and Kai retakes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Oh, still some late moves being made in the mid-pack. Jerry Van Bussel has sent it down the inside of Asicome. Sav has said thank you very much and got the move done as well from second place down into P11 for Asicome, from P3 down to 14th for Axe. As Choco and Lars Kramer with a poor exit eventually, and they're still single file going into turn 6 and 7, but we've seen drivers slide, we've seen drivers go around the outside, but nothing on lap 30 of 36 of what has been a frantic safety car restart.
It really has, and look at this, because Lars now on the back, and that is an AI car of Rusty going through the middle of the pack, but Kai there leading the way. Schumacher now in second. Benza there dropped down to third, so Benza having a little bit of a problem there, coming through the left-hander of turn number 11 and got the job done from Schumacher. So Schumacher through and he's into second. Benza in third, and Placky now involved in this battle as well. We saw him on the podium in Console Tier 1 last season, and now blast down the inside line of Benza in towards turn 1 with DRS enabled. Kai leads the way, but remember, he's got that 3-second penalty from earlier on. Schumacher there in second, Placky there in third. As it stands, single file through the center S once again, but the position changes in this race absolutely topsy-turvy. Placky's gained 9, Chuckle's gained 10, Fezzel's about to gain 1 on the back of Benza. Once again, they're going at it. It's personal between these two, I'll tell you. And the AlphaTauri forces the McLaren off track, Hamilton Verstappen style. And in the end, Fezzel gives Benza as good as you're given, and he's through and he's into P4.
They cannot leave each other alone. From dueling for the race lead, from dueling to third, now for the P4, and on different sets of tyres. Benza will be hoping the laps tick down a lot quicker than what they are doing at the moment. Here comes Choco down the inside, late move by the Mercedes, contact to go with it, and Lars Kramer's going to get the exit as well, going through turn 11 and onto turn 12. Shunsao, is there an opening for the Alfa Romeo? Yes, there is. Down the inside he goes, almost a bit of contact. Camera angle letting him down there, didn't quite see how that move played out, but still, on they go then. Lars Kramer gaining, using all of his battery to try and clear the McLaren, hoping Mubarak isn't there to take him as well. He's not, and Lars will try to go the long way around turn 1, turn 2, down the inside contact. Very similar, if not identical, to what Hamilton and Verstappen did in 2022, the latest of their incidents. Haas off the track as well. Carnage 2x2 going into turn 4. The Aston Martin of Saab leading them all through as Benza has got off the track again.
And Brothers is off track as well, picks up a 3-second penalty because Lars forcing them off track, and Brothers to the inside line. These guys know better than this, and the racing quality, honestly, I think Luke said a little bit earlier on to us privately, it's a bit like Chinese F4, I think, from some of these guys, and I think that is coming to fruition. Brad is there with left side end plate damage. Unfortunately, he shouldn't have hung it around the outside. It's as simple as that. These guys are racing on Monday, and they've got me commentating on them as well, so I certainly expect better around here in Brazil from these guys. They're meant to be making an impression, not a depression. But Kai there leading the way, from Placky there in second, Schumacher there in third. Damage there in the chat saying, what am I seeing? You're seeing the same as us, my friend. Kai there leading the way, 4 laps to go. Placky in second, Schumacher there in third. And Schumacher, again, land himself in a very fortunate opportunity. He's there in third, potentially in second, because Kai obviously is there with a 3-second penalty. And penalties again being picked up by Sav, who's got a 5-second penalty. 3 seconds. Bradders with 5 seconds. He is back in the pit lane after damage. Benza also had damage. I thought he picked up damage on the exit of turn number 2, which he did, and Schumacher on the back of Placky. There's no way he's going to think about this going around the outside, but there was a bit of a hitbox moment from there, and if he's not careful, Schumacher might actually get hitboxed by Fezzo behind, who's right on the back of him.
Yeah, that was nearly nasty. He was just sort of pushing him along there. Placky had a poor exit coming out of turn 4. Whether that was to help Kai and try and extend that 3-second gap and let him deservedly win this race, you could argue. At the same time, Placky has done such a brilliant job from where he's come from. Started P12 in this Grand Prix. Now up to second with 3 laps to go. Choco also up 11 positions. Lars Kramer started 18th.
Fezzo
up to 10th. Fezzo is on his way. Here he goes on Schumacher, who's flashing as most of the drivers. Here comes Schumacher as well into the first corner. Not going to yet make the move. He has a bit more ERS going into turn 4.
Definitely so. Avatar saying in the chat, I think putting it pretty lightly, this is now a bull ring. Totally agree. Jerry Van Bussel's doing Sav out of turn number 1. Sav having a mistake and he's dropping down the field as well. Schumacher again on the back of Placky. Can't find the move and Choco very close there to the back of Fezzo. Coming up the hill in towards turn number 4 in what has been a real topsy-turvy affair here in Brazil. But Kai leading the way by nearly 2 seconds on Placky. Placky there trying to hang off, I think, Schumacher to maybe give the gap to 3 seconds. We could be seeing PSR team orders in full effect from Crispy there in the chat. Joseph, you are saying in the chat, what does the shopping centre in Birmingham have to do with this? Totally agree. Yes, Ozzy the Bull from the Commonwealth Games. I remember that from last year. Mubarak on the back of Choco as well. But this is becoming like a bull ring. It is untamed bulls, quite literally at that. 20 of them, still 14 going out on track. Bradder's having a battle with Benza further down the field, but Kai leading the way from Placky in second. Schumacher third. The penultimate lap about to begin here in Brazil, and we've got 8.6 kilometres of the race still to go. Schumacher again closing on Placky, not going to go for the move, but Jerry Van Bussel will, however, on the pad go to Mubarak to the inside line of turn number 1. Beautiful move by Jerry Van Bussel, and that is how the PSGL F2 champion does that.
Benza's race quickly unravelling, another spin for him. I think he's well onto the infield actually as he tries to recover, having another spin as we speak, though that's not relevant. So the podium fight we've got, and Fezzo again with a brilliant exit coming out of turn 4. Likewise Choco, who has gained a lot in these final few laps of the Grand Prix. About 1.5 laps left to go. Kai 2.3 seconds now is the gap. Schumacher is gonna leave it late to try and make the move, try and win this race as well, but again the gap just keeps on growing. 2.3 now, a huge final lap to come here in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and he needs 0.7 of a second, actually 0.6 of a second from somewhere. Benzo, I think, picked up damage in that contact with Bradders further down the field, so that is him out of the race and retiring out on track as well, which is disappointing. But Kai leading the way with 4.3 kilometres of this track to go here in Brazil. Placky in second, Schumacher in third, and it's about to get unhinged here in Brazil, because there goes Schumacher to the inside line of turn number 1. Placky trying to force him all the way to the left-hand side, might actually open the door for Fezzo as well, but Schumacher, clean move, gets the job done. Through to turn number 1, gets the job done. He's into second. Placky there in third, but look at the gap. It's 2.8 seconds. Kai is still on for this, you know, and he still could win this, as Schumacher, lacking in terms of no ERS, is going to be on the back foot all the way up the hill towards Ferradura. Blacky's going to put so much pressure on him. Fezzo there in fourth, but watch out for Jerry Van Bussel getting into this race as well. He's there in sixth on the back of the Mercedes. The Mercedes of Choco just about hanging on. They come through Ferradura for the final time, and he lunges it to the inside line. Jerry Van Bussel lay on the brakes. That is how you pull off a dive bomb. Yes, there was a bit of contact, but that was opportunistic. Brilliant stuff from Jerry Van Bussel. Gets through and he's into fifth. Mubarak and Choco are now side by side. There's 2x2 in towards Pico de Pato. God almighty, the Ducks will be watching this one. Choco and Mubarak are side by side. Adam Magulio at turn number 11. But nothing can be taken away from Kai, who comes through the final couple of corners, through the beat of those boxes for the final time in what has been a brilliant race, but he needs to gap him. It's 2.9 seconds. It's going to be so close on the line. Kai to the line, wins in Brazil, but Schumacher, I think, is going to steal it. He does, just about, and Kai loses out by 25 hundredths of a second. That is so unfortunate. He did not deserve that at all. Schumacher takes the race win, with penalties added for Kai, of course. Kai there in second. 200ths of a second comes down to what separates the winner and the loser of the Brazilian Grand Prix social race in Console Tier 1.
Well, a chaotic first lap from the part of Schumacher. I think his re-entry sparked a whole load of chaos behind. But what a race it was from him, pulling off an overtake. That moment of about lap 9, I want to say. Kai went through, but Schumacher picked off 3 cars on the exit of turn 3, and I think that was what won him that race by the blink of an eye. I think even less than the blink of an eye. I'm going to have to Google those comparative figures, because 0.025 of a second, absolutely crazy. Well done to Schumacher. Commiserations to PSR Kai, though I think we both agree that his driving was very much deserving of that winner's trophy.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say it now. Maybe another 100 yards in this race. I think Kai would have won, and he would have won it fair and square. But it's Schumacher who takes the race win. And to be fair, you highlight that point. He got the switchback on 3 cars coming out of turn number 1 and then through turn number 3. If it wasn't for that, I don't think he would have been really involved in this race. It was just the fortunaticity of Fezzo and Benza and their battle, and they're making it personal, I've got to say, their battle, which put Schumacher in the position that he did. Kai, you have got to feel sorry for finishing in second. Plenty of positives to take out of that, though, I think, from both of their angles. Schumacher certainly driving not always the cleanest from his perspective, but he does take the race win. And I will say it now before everyone comes at me in the comment section. A PS guy is out on top, from Kai in second, Packy in third, Jerry Van Bussel in fourth, and Choco in fifth. Mubarak the pad goat there in sixth, 15th on the grid up to sixth. Good job from him. Jack there in seventh, got really back into that with that safety car. Lars Savin axed the top 10. Brothers Fezzo, of course, he finished further up. Asacom, Benza, Rusty, Nick, and the rest all DNFing out on track as well. Jerry Van Bussel complaining about the lag in the race as well. It was rather laggy at some points in that race, but in the end, great racing. Hard but fair from some, hard but fair from all. I hope it's going to be the way forward for our console tier 1 and the social race. For my oh my, that ends off tonight in Brazil. And I am utterly speechless as to what happened, because I think the man that is deserving of the win finished in second.
Yeah, you could argue that, and it will be a debate, but at the end of the day, it's a non-championship race, it's a social, and there's going to be that feeling of forgetfulness, I think, after a few days. We'll just forget about it, move on to the next one, and then we can finally start WOR Season 15, because I think there's a little bit of impatience out there, just drivers wanting the season to start and just want something to play for, perhaps just to stop themselves getting into some pretty difficult situations. But 5 drivers within a second, you cannot complain about the action we've seen tonight from a neutral point of view. Just a pleasure to cover once again, James.
Yeah, pleasure to cover with you as well, Joseph, here tonight. And what we can do is remind everyone of what has been released in terms of the calendars for both WOR Console Tier 1 and indeed for PC, and indeed also for Legacy Division as well. We start off, of course, Season 15 for WOR in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps, the dinosaur track, albeit 7 kilometres in length, of course, between dates of July 31st and August the 4th. Remember as well, Console Tier 1 is, I believe, moving. Just double check on this. Where's the schedule? Hang on, give me a second. Weekly schedule. 4th. August the 4th, yeah, it'll be a Friday. Yeah, Friday for Console Tier 1. All the dates that you see, July 31st, I believe, is going to be on a Monday, so that'll be PC no assist. Tuesday will be Xbox assist and World Legacy Division. Thursday, console no assist, and Console Tier 1, of course, on Friday. And I believe sign-ups are still open, if I'm not mistaken, as well. They're closing, I think, on the 20th. If I'm not mistaken. So you can get involved in all of that. Sign-ups will be closing very soon indeed. So if you are wanting to join the action here in Console Tier 1, and indeed, of course, the whole of WOR, you can do indeed. But looking through that calendar, of course, Joseph, we've got Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and then the Netherlands completely on the bounce. Then we've got the sprint race of Italy, which is going to be very interesting. Las Vegas, Japan, Abu Dhabi, Great Britain, and then our season finale in Brazil, as you mentioned earlier on the 20th of October for Console Tier 1. It's going to be a fascinating season, and there are tracks there that are not only brand new, with Qatar and Las Vegas, but also some old favourites like Silverstone and like Spain.
But yeah, it's a great balance, isn't it? And it's an 11-race season, of course, which all eyes drawing to the fact that we will have 3 seasons on F1 23. I presume another one will start after Christmas and then maybe after Easter to bring us towards the end of the game cycle as well. That's just my guess, nothing confirmed on that one. Round 7 to 9 subject to change, which might be might be relative to what's going on in esports and the wider community around that time. But yeah, looking forward to this calendar. It's good to see the Netherlands back on there, a track that I'm really enjoying on this year's game due to its laser scanning. Yeah, just a great test for all the drivers overall.
It definitely will be. It definitely will be. And as I say, some favourites in there like Silverstone. Belgium, of course, starting off the season. It's going to be a season, I think, for all abilities to be tested and all abilities hopefully to thrive there as well. We'll have a look at Legacy Division as well. Qualifiers start on the 1st of August. Of course, Legacy Division happening on Tuesdays. It'll be myself and Jota in the commentary box for Legacy Division throughout the entirety of the season. Might be seeing some new features as well in terms of the graphics in that as well. But Hungary, and then we've got a 3-week break, so albeit, and then somebody has decided to put Monaco as round 1 of the championship, which is going to be very interesting indeed for Legacy Division. But then, of course, we follow a similar pattern, to be honest, to WOR, the console tiers. Britain for round 2, then Netherlands, Austria, Qatar. Qatar being the first sprint race of the season as well. Then we have our first transfer window break, I believe, as well, and that is between, that'll be on the 26th of September. Saudi Arabia on the 3rd of October. Then we've got a string of 5 races from there, which include Belgium, Mexico, Spain for the second sprint race, and then Bahrain on Halloween. Hopefully, nothing going to be spooky about that one, as Australia comes 2 weeks after with the second transfer window and the second break on the 14th of November. Then Japan, then Abu Dhabi sprint race on my birthday, which is going to be very interesting. It's also unlucky for some as number 13. Brazil on the 5th of December, and then a season finale in Las Vegas before Christmas, which is going to be very interesting indeed, pretty much mirroring when it is in the calendar in real life F1. And looking through that Legacy Division calendar, Joseph, of course, unfortunately, you're not going to be alongside me in the commentary box for that one. But Monaco's starting off the season, going to be very interesting for the 10 teams that qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. Monaco round 1. That's what we did last season as well. I was in the commentary box for that, and it was a lot of fun. It being a night race as well, just a brilliant atmosphere. So many people coming and joining the stream. I think we approached about 200 viewers at one point, which was just insane. Couple of sprint races, I should say 3 sprint races, which is 2 more than what we've got in the regular season as well. I'm sure 2 Legacy Division seasons is the aim, same as what we had on F1 22 and Japan on my birthday. Just while we're on the topic of birthdays, I know you mentioned yours, I might as well mention mine. So I look forward to watching the Legacy Division next season.
Yeah, you have to feel sorry that you were born a week exactly for my birthday. You've got to feel sorry for me, I think, because of that. But yeah, I think, to be honest, Japan and Abu Dhabi, they're 2 very good tracks toward the end of the season. 3 sprint races as well. It is going to be fascinating in both Qatar, Spain, and indeed in Abu Dhabi. 2 Middle East tracks as well, actually being in the sprint race calendar and both being on midnight as well, including the new Spain layout as well as part of that. And I think, as a result of us running through Legacy Division and indeed Console T1, I think we are going to end off the stream here. So big thank you to Mr. Joseph for joining me in the commentary box. An absolute pleasure. I'm going to leave you with your final thoughts on what was an absolute thrilling and enthralling Brazilian Grand Prix social race for Console T1.
With all due respect, I'm glad it's over, because I just felt like the tension was increasing every lap, and we got a brilliant conclusion as well. So again, thank you for having me, and maybe we'll be back next week for one final social race. But until then, thank you very much.
You are very welcome indeed, and we can whet the appetite a little bit more because you are going to see the trailer for PCF1, which is happening on Sunday night as well, and that is, of course, the legendary commentary duo of, I believe, Mr. Dan Field and Mr. Ryan Jacobs, if I'm not mistaken, which I've had the pleasure of working with both of them in my commentary career. Brilliant to watch on. You know what me, Thomas Ronho and the likes going to be racing there. potentially on Sunday, and you've only got to wait 2 days for that as well. So we'll end you off with that. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.